I'm Jennifer. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a fresh evergreen Christmas wreath for $7. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Before we jump into this, let me tell you a little bit about the greenery that I collected. And I drove down back roads. I got some from my yard, my daughter-in-law's yard. And I like a mixture of a bunch of greenery because it's gonna make this wreath really full and really beautiful. So the first greenery I have is some beautiful cedar. This is some pine. I got a little bit of boxwood. And then I've got some beautiful holly berries. And I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what kind of green this is, but I thought it was absolutely beautiful. We're gonna start with a simple grapevine wreath. Now, even though mine, this is about 18 inches, I'm gonna make the wreath a little bit bigger. I'm gonna have the greenery spraying out. So keep that in mind when you choose your grapevine wreath. All you need is some floral cutters, some greenery cutters, and some wire. This is going to be super easy. I'm going to start with the cedar. And I'm gonna cut some pieces off, trim them down a little bit. Okay, and what you do, let me push this out of the way a little bit. What we're gonna do is we're gonna gather some together and lay it on the grapevine wreath and gather your floral wire. And wire just a little bit around that cedar. Twist it on there. Lay it on your grapevine wreath and go around and then twist that wire. Now I'm going to go all the way around with the cedar, like so, all the way around. And you're just gonna keep going with the floral wire. Now it'll show right now, but after we keep adding onto it, your wire will not show. This is not a hard project at all. In fact, when I was a little girl, my mother had me join 4-H. And I learned a lot of different things, but one of the things I learned was what I'm showing you right now. And that was how to make a fresh Christmas wreath. Years later, after I was married, and we were actually struggling one Christmas and didn't have a lot of money to get the kids Christmas gifts, I thought, okay, I'm going to make some real Christmas wreaths. And again, I went and drove everywhere to find all the greenery I could. I stayed up in my garage half the night making 30 Christmas wreaths. The next day, I only had the 2 boys at the time. We drove to the side of a road in our jalopy of a station wagon, and we opened up the back and put a sign up for wreaths, real wreaths, $10. And in an hour, we had sold all of them and we had Christmas money. So of course, I was very thankful for the fact that my mom had put me in 4-H so I could learn something like that. And I tell you something else, I think. Never stop learning. Never stop learning and doing crafts if that's something you love. Because when I'm doing crafts, I can shut the whole world out and just have some peace, and creating things just makes me happy. So I have got the cedar added. So the next greenery I'm going to add is the pine. And real quick, it was much easier. Instead of just attaching each individual strand, I went ahead and used my roll of greenery and just rolled out a lot of it. Because if you get too much, it's gonna get all twisted, but it was much easier to use this. So I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna add the beautiful pine. Now I'm adding a lot of different greenery to this wreath, but you could just simply do pine or just do the cedar. If you do that, you'll want to hide your wire, and the way you do that is when you lay that greenery down and you add the wire to it, then the next piece that you get, let me snip this one, the next piece that you add, lay it over the wire, and then it's not going to show. When you get all the way around, you'll see a little bit of wire, but that's where we're going to add the bow and you won't see it. Look how beautiful that pine looks. Okay, I am going to add a little more wire, and then I'm going to add the last greenery to this wreath. And my hands and your hands, if you do this, will get covered in sap. But something I use is, I believe it's called Goo Gone. It'll take it right off. Wash your hands with the Goo Gone, get it off, and then wash with soap. Okay, the next part, I'm gonna actually do whatever this greenery is that I don't know. A little bit of boxwood and a little bit of holly. And I'm just gonna kind of go over the top, intermixing all of those. So I've got a little bit of this, a little bit of the boxwood, and I'm gonna snip. I don't have as much holly, so I've got to be pretty sparing with that, but I want to put it on top because I really want the berries to show. Oh, this wreath smells amazing. I thought I was going to put it on my front door, but this may get hung in my house. It is the most beautiful day today. The wind is blowing a little bit, but the sun is out. It's a little chilly, playing in nature. Okay, I'm in my happy place. Now, when we're putting this last layer on, I'm doing like I said before, I'm laying it on top of where that first wire was to camouflage it and going around the wreath until I get back around, and that's where we're at the bow. Now, if you want, maybe you're not seeing as much cedar or you want to see more cedar on the top or more pine, just grab a little sprig and add it. Okay, I've gone all the way around the wreath, and now what I'm gonna do is just tie a knot in that floral wire and I'm done. Next, I'm gonna add the bow, but before I do, I have got to go get the sap off of my hands, so I'll be right back. Now I'm just going to add this beautiful velvet bow. I did 4 loops, and I'm gonna wire it on, and there we go. Okay, I'm gonna go hang it up. Let me tell you one last trick, and I learned this from our local florist. So if you get your wreath up, and I'm looking right here and I'm like, oh, there's not enough of the cedar. Did not know this. You can hot glue real floral, real flowers, real greenery, whatever. I did not know that. So I'm gonna add a little bit of glue, and I'm gonna pop that right in there. Yeah, voila, it's done. Well, how fun was that project? I absolutely had a great time. If there's any other ideas that you'd like to see me do, especially about Christmas, leave me a comment and I'd love to know what you think. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Gonna have more videos coming out later. Happy holidays.